Hello and welcome to another lesson from Level Up Mathematics. In today's lesson, we will be solving quadratic equations by the quadratic formula. Before we do, let's review how to evaluate some numerical expressions you will encounter when you're solving things by the quadratic formula. So look at example 1. It says, evaluate each of the following. Express your answers in simplified radical form if necessary. So in problem A, we have the square root of negative 10 squared minus 4 times 5 times 1. So to evaluate this radical expression, the first thing you want to do is evaluate the expression that's under the square root. So I want you to write down an empty square root symbol here, and what we're going to do is just evaluate what's under the square root. So you'll type it in exactly like it's written, parenthesis, negative 10, parenthesis squared, minus 4, parenthesis, 5, parenthesis 1, and we get an 80. Okay. Then, if your radical will simplify, then you need to simplify it further. So the square root of 80 can be rewritten as the square root of 16 times the square root of 5, and the square root of 16 is 4. So square root of 80 would simplify to 4 square root 5. All right, let's look at B. Again, write down an empty radical symbol, and then we're going to evaluate what's under the radical. So in my calculator, I'm just going to change these negative 10s. Let's see, I'm going to change this to negative 4 squared minus 4 times 1 times 3. So this becomes square root 4. Now, square root 4 is a perfect square, so that would simplify to positive 2. All right, problem C. We have 4 plus or minus square root 36 divided by 2. So this is actually two separate problems. They're using the plus or minus symbol to indicate that your square root 36 can either be positive or negative. So to break this apart, I would say 4 plus square root 36, which is 6 over 2, or 4 minus square root 36, which is 6 over 2. So 4 plus 6 is 10. 10 divided by 2 is 5. The second case, 4 minus 6 is negative 2, and negative 2 divided by 2 is negative 1. So our two answers are 5 and negative 1. All right, pause the video and try problem D on your own. All right, welcome back. Let's see how you did. I put this is negative 6 plus 9 divided by 3, or negative 6 minus 9 divided by 3. When I evaluated my first fraction, that gave me negative 6 plus 9 is 3. 3 divided by 3 is 1. My second fraction, negative 6 minus 9 is negative 15, and negative 15 divided by 3 is negative 5. Now, in our next set of examples, we'll be using something called the quadratic formula. The quadratic formula is one of the most important formulas you're going to learn in this course. And the reason it's so important is it will solve any quadratic equation in the world. So if you hate to solve by factoring, quadratic formula will work for you. If you hate to solve by completing the square, quadratic formula will work for you. It is the only formula we have that works on every single type of quadratic equation. Now, in order to solve, let's talk about what the formula is first. The formula for the quadratic formula is x is equal to the opposite of b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4 times a times c, all divided by 2 times a. Now, in order to use the quadratic formula, your equation must have the form ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0. In other words, one of the sides has to be equal to 0. Okay? So in example 2, It says use the quadratic formula and the steps below to solve the equation on the right. So the steps to using the quadratic formula. Step 1 is write the equation in standard form. So our equation here is x squared minus 5x equals 36. But this equation is supposed to be equal to 0, not 36. So I have to start by subtracting 36 from both sides so that I can make it equal to 0. Now when I do that, this is step 1, writing in standard form, I would get x squared minus 5x minus 36 is now equal to 0. So now it's in standard form. Step 2, identify the a, the b, and the c. So in this problem, a, coefficient of x squared, is 1. B would be the coefficient of x, which is negative 5. And c would be the constant term, which is negative 36. So that's step 2. Identify the values of a, b, and c. Step 3, substitute a, b, and c into the equation. So I've got this set up for you. We have opposite, instead of b, we have parenthesis, plus or minus, parenthesis squared, minus 4, parenthesis, all over 2 parentheses. Now, looking back at your formula, the first two variables are b's. So my b value is going to go here and here. Negative 5, negative 5. My next two variables are 4 times a times c. So I want a here and c here. And on the bottom of the formula, we have an a. So in this case, a was 1. Oh, and I didn't even notice they wanted us to write our a, b, and c right here. So let me do that real quick. All right, now what we're going to do is we're going to simplify this a little bit. So start off with the opposite of negative 5 is positive 5. Now they want you to figure out what number goes under the radical. So in your calculator, do not type in the square root symbol. Start with the parentheses. Parenthesis, negative 5, parenthesis squared, minus 4, parenthesis 1, parenthesis, negative 36, close parenthesis. Okay, and that tells me this is a 169. On the bottom of my fraction, I have 2 times 1, which is 2. So now I've simplified this down to 5 plus or minus square root 169 over 2. Now, square root of 169 is a perfect square. If you don't know it, you can type it in, square root 169, and it gives you 13. So this is 5 plus or minus 13 divided by 2. Now, just like we did in example 1, we can split this into 5 plus 13 over 2 and 5 minus 13 over 2. And this will allow us to get our solution set. So 5 plus 13 is 18. 18 divided by 2 is 9. And then 5 minus 13 is negative 8 divided by 2, which is negative 4. Now, to check your solution, I'm going to go back to my original equation, x squared minus 5x equals 36. And I'm going to put parenthesis 9, parenthesis squared, minus 5, parenthesis 9. And that equals 36. Now I want to see if negative 4 is a solution. So delete the 9 and put negative 4. Delete the 9 and put negative 4. And sure enough, that also equals 36. So we know we have found our true solution here. 9 and negative 4 both make this equation true. Now, this problem could have easily been solved by factoring, but what I wanted to show you is that quadratic formula works on every single equation. It always works. All right, problem A. We have x squared minus 8x is equal to 20. So step 1 is I want to rewrite the equation so that one side is equal to 0. So I'm going to subtract 20 from both sides. And that will give me x squared minus 8x minus 20 equals 0. So our a value is 1, b value is negative 8, c value negative 20. There's my ABC. All right, now I'm going to plug everything to my formula. Opposite of B would be opposite of negative 8. B squared would be negative 8 squared minus 4 times A, which is 1, times C, which is negative 20, all over 2 times A, which is 1. All right, now let's simplify that a little bit. The opposite of negative 8 is positive 8. Now we need to figure out what number goes under the square root. So parenthesis, negative 8 parenthesis squared minus 4 parenthesis 1 parenthesis negative 20. 144 all over 2 times 1, which is 2. Now, square root 144 is a perfect square. The square root of 144 is 12. So this is 8 plus or minus 12 divided by 2. So I could rewrite this as 8 plus 12 divided by 2, or 8 minus 12 divided by 2. So 8 plus 12 is 20. 20 divided by 2 gives me 10. Next one, 8 minus 12 is negative 4. Negative 4 divided by 2 is negative 2. Now, you should always check your answers. For the sake of this video becoming too long, I'm not going to show the check step, but I would definitely check all your answers because it's very easy to make sign mistakes on these type of problems. All right, problem B. We have 2x squared plus 7x plus 3 is equal to 12. So I want to start off by making the right side equal to 0. So that would give me 2x squared plus 7x, and 3 minus 12 would be minus 9. So our A value in this problem is 2, B value is 7, C value is negative 9. All right, so the formula starts off with opposite of B. So B in this case is 7, plus or minus the square root of B squared. So again, B is 7. Minus 4 times A, which is 2, times C, which is negative 9, all over 2 times A, which is 2. All right, now let's simplify this a little bit. The opposite of positive 7 is negative 7. Now let's figure out what number goes under our square root. So parenthesis 7, parenthesis squared, minus 4, parenthesis 2, parenthesis negative 9. And that gives me 121. On the bottom, 2 times 2 is 4. Now 121 is a perfect square. The square root of 121 is 11. So this would be negative 7 plus or minus 11 over 4. Now break that apart. Negative 7 plus 11 over 4. Negative 7 minus 11 over 4. So negative 7 plus 11 is 4. 4 divided by 4 gives me 1. Negative 7 minus 11 is negative 18. And negative 18 divided by 4 will reduce to negative 9 over 2. All right, in problem C and D, we're going to do the same thing, but this time I've taken away the scaffolding, and you're going to be setting up the formula on your own. So in problem C, we have negative x squared minus 10x minus 21 is equal to 0. Now this problem's already equal to 0, so we don't have to move anything around, but we're going to begin by identifying our A, our B, and our C. So in this problem, A is negative 1, B negative 10, C negative 21. All right, so we're going to take opposite of B, so that would be negative 10, plus or minus the square root, make sure you draw that really big, of b squared, make sure you use parentheses here, minus 4 times a times c. For a, plug in -1. For c, plug in -21. All over 2 times a, which in this case is -1. So that's the first thing you do. Since you don't have the scaffolding, you have to set up the formula on your own. All right, now we're going to simplify this. The opposite of -10 is +10, plus or minus. Then draw an empty square root over 2 times -1, which is -2. Now what we have to do is figure out what goes under that empty square root. So I'm going to come over here to my calculator, start with my parentheses, -10 parentheses squared minus 4 parentheses -1 parentheses -21 close parentheses. And that gives me 16. So this would simplify to 10 plus square root of 16 is 4 over 2, or 10 minus 4 over 2. So 10 plus 4 is 14. 14 divided by 2 is 7. 10 minus 4 is 6, and 6 divided by 2 is 3. All right, pause the video and try problem D on your own. All right, welcome back. Let's see how you did. The first thing I did was subtracted 12 from both sides to get 3x squared minus 6x minus 12 equals 0. I identified my a as 3, my b as -6, and my c is -12. Then I used my formula opposite of b, which should be -6, plus or minus the square root of b squared, so parenthesis, -6 parenthesis squared, minus 4 times a times c, -12, all over 2 times a, which in this case is 3. All right, so that's your setup. All right, now, the opposite of -6 is +6, plus or minus empty square root over 2 times 3, which is 6. I'll use my calculator to see what goes under the empty square root. So -6 parentheses squared minus 4 parentheses 3 parentheses -12. And that gives me square root 180. Now, 180 is not a perfect square, so I want to break it down, square root 180, to its perfect square factor. So I'm going to type in 180 is a big number, so I'm going to use my calculator to help me find the factors. 180 divided by x, and then just make a table starting with 2 times 90, 3 times 60, still no perfect squares, 4 times 45, 5, there's a bigger perfect square, 36, 5 times 36, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15. Okay, we found a repeater, 12, 15, and 15, 12, so that means we found all the factors. So I want to look through here and find my largest perfect square. So I have a 4, a 36. It looks like 36 is my largest perfect square. So over here, I'm going to break this down for you. Square root of 180 is the same thing as square root 36 times square root 5. So square root 36 is 6, square root 5. So this will give me 6 plus or minus 6 square root 5 divided by 6. Now, I want you to notice something. Look at your outer coefficients here. they all have a common factor of 6. So if I were to divide those by 6, 6 divided by 6 is 1, plus or minus 6 divided by 6 is 1 square root 5. Now, this is a correct answer, but you're also going to you'll also see this answer written like this: 1 plus square root 5 and 1 minus square root 5. Same answer. Either way is a totally correct way to write the answer. So 1 plus or minus square root 5, or 1 plus square root 5, comma 1 minus square root 5. Feel free to write your answer either way. And that concludes today's lesson, solving by the quadratic formula.